second. Yeah.
Hi, uh, good evening. We're really sorry, there was a little bit of a glitch, but we are resuming again now. So yeah, as I was saying, today we are going to have a wonderful presentation and wonderful webinar about crafting hero content for your brand. So before we go into the webinar, I would like to briefly introduce about DigiGrad itself and our wonderful speaker that we got today. So DigiGrad is a edtech initiative that is powered by Social Beat. Social Beat is an independent ad agency in India, and we have been powering more than 200 plus company for their digital and ad campaigns. And today we are come with yet again an interesting topic about content. So to go further on the same, we have a wonderful person here who is none other than Panisha Shah. So she is actually the creative head at Social Beat, and she has more than a decade of successfully partnering with clients in building brands in digital space. Under her creative leadership, Social Beat is one of India's premium digital marketing companies and grown to be more than 160 plus member team. She has helped deliver significant impact in client business by reimagining their digital mandate through creative brand strategy and planning. And her core competencies include creative strategy, design aesthetic, brand design, video content strategy, and executions. And she is also awarded content 40 under 40 by Social Sum. She's also a Social Samosa Superwoman for 2020. So, without further ado, I welcome Panisha. Uh, Hi, Panisha.
Hi, Prasad. Thank you
Uh,
so much for the detailed introduction.
my pleasure. Actually, we are really happy to have you here, and I think we are other viewers also are excited to know what we have got today about hero content. So please, over to you.
Sure, Prasad. Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I hope this would sort of be a useful session for everyone who's joined in today. Let me just quickly start with what we'll be covering today. So we're going to essentially look at this framework, which we call the Hero Hub Hygiene Framework, which is something that we use for creating content and campaigns. We look at what this is, why do we recommend or why do we say this could be a good framework for you to follow to come up with your content plans. And also we look at the how of how do you go about creating content under each of these categories. We'll also look at some case studies and to see how brands have used this framework to come up with theme-based content. So moving on, yeah. So I'd like to hear anybody has heard about this framework. Has anybody here um, worked with this framework or heard about this framework ever? Maybe a quick yes or no on the chat. Okay, I'm just going to assume that that's a no. All right, so what we're going to, sorry, yeah. So what is this framework, right? So it's essentially a content marketing framework, which was originally developed by an ex-Googler, Lazar Zamek, and a media strategist, Justin Kirby. It was developed as a guide for growing audiences on YouTube. And what they did is they developed a strategy based on what people were searching and what they were watching on YouTube. And that analysis of that data revealed that there were three types of content that people usually watch or engage with. And they sort of categorize that into three buckets, as if we have to call it, which is the hero, hub, and hygiene. And each of them perform different functions. Brands who are able to sort of deliver a right balance, right, between all of these three types of contents have seen success in pulling audiences right from the awareness stage to the to sort of moving them to being advocates, and then finally into getting them converted. So while this has been a strategy for YouTube, and it's something that YouTube sort of came up with, we've seen that this framework has been effective in creating content across all marketing areas. So it's not just in creating video content, but also in creating your other sort of campaigns, whether it's influencer, whether it's your social media, whether even if it's your performance campaigns. So this could sort of be a tool that you use when you're brainstorming for content communications or the campaign that you really want to do. This could sort of act like a tool for you, a framework for you to really come up with theme-based content and content which you can continuously do over a period of time, right? So let's understand why do we need to sort of use this framework, and why do we even think this would sort of help, right? So give me some context, right? Like things have changed, right, since the traditional pre-internet days when there was print and television advertising. Now with digital technology, with video streaming, with social media, content consumption habits have changed, and so has the way people are engaging with brands, as well as their consumer journeys, right, have really changed on digital. So what has essentially happened is it's become so multifaceted. It's no more like you can't just simply afford to have this really big film that you put in all your budgets into to create this really big ad film to really go all out to sort of create buzz on television and offline, but really need to have a more targeted approach, a more demographic approach, a more vernacular approach, a more sort of specific approach to what your consumers are really looking at, really searching for, what is the kind of content they're engaging with. So really understanding all of that has become very, very crucial now. And this model sort of fits in really well because it allows you to sort of create campaigns which can last for months, but at the same time really structure your content to those specific target consumers, specific search terms, for instance, or specific things that people are really engaging and looking for. So what it does is, one is it helps you create a theme-based content. It sort of engages you with the target audience at each stage of the funnel, and it also enriches the experience because through this process you really understand your consumers better, and you're able to sort of entice them to really get to either subscribe to your channel or like your content or sort of take any action, right? Even to sort of buy your product or your service. So this is why we think that this framework can actually be really useful when you're brainstorming to come up with a content strategy for say you're planning a 3-month content strategy. This framework can help you to, brainstorm to come up with that. Now, what you're looking at this graph is basically just showing you, how this hero, hub, and hygiene sort of works over a period of time. What you see is hero, it sort of acts like this spike, right? While it happens for a very short period of time, its appeal and sort of reach is much, it's like a mass reach. You sort of go really high budget on this, you really go high budget on your promotions here, you really want people to be aware of what you're really selling or providing through your brand. So these large spikes that come in. Then there is the hub content and hygiene content, which you consistently keep doing throughout your marketing plan, throughout your content plan. Hub is something that you do smaller campaigns, smaller content pushes that you keep putting out, especially during the hero content being, when the hero content is sort of getting pushed out. That's when you see that the hub also gets like a spike, but otherwise you need to constantly keep pushing content to establish this trust with your audience, to really come across as a thought leader or expert in the field or service that you're providing. Finally, there is hygiene, which is the health content essentially. What again, you need to sort of keep doing this throughout your plan and consistently keep doing this, and keep ensuring that you sort of keep engaging with your audience throughout this period. Right. So just to give a understanding of how this framework really fits into the sales funnel, you'll see that it's sort of correct, very, it fits in very correctly with the traditional sales funnel. You can see how you can structure your content specifically at each stage here. Now, at the awareness stage, you really want people to purchase your product, right? You want them to really know what you're selling because they've never heard of you. This is where it's the top of the funnel activity, and this is where you want your business to be really known to your prospects. So at this point is where the hero content really becomes very valuable, because you want to create a sort of high value content which can reach out to a larger audience and really get them to know about what you're selling and what you're providing. So it's to build awareness and at the same time sort of position your brand, and simultaneously keep doing hygiene so that you keep using your leveraging your SEO rankings and influence consideration. At the consideration stage, again, now that people know what your service is, what you're an expert at, you want to sort of keep pushing that out more and establish a trust, right, with the audience who are sort of looking out for you. You want to build like a thought leadership. This is where you come up with thought leadership content. So this is where you want to build advocates, again, build awareness, build advocates and keep influencing consideration. Finally, the decision at the conversion stage is where once you've sort of nurtured your prospects, now you want to, your intent is to really want them to make that decision, right? You want to sort of really look at what is their intent, what are they really searching for, what are their possible doubts, and then help them with content which can make them take a faster decision to really buy the product. So this is where your hygiene or help content really plays a big role, because while you're still trying to influence consideration, you're also building on your reputation as a trust, as a thought leader or an expert in that. You can do this through your product demos or any sort of help content that you keep putting and engaging with your audience. So moving on, I think let's look at, now that we've understood, why this framework really helps and how this fits into the sales funnel, let's now look at how do you sort of go about creating content under each of these buckets. So first, let's look at hero content. Now, what is hero content? These are basically those large scale tentpole events or go big moments that you really choose for your brand, that you really want to push out there. This could be anything, right? Like you can pick any particular day or any sort of communication that you think is very key to your brand and really build a campaign or build a content around that. The key in this is that you sort of stick to storytelling because you really want to capture people's attention. You want to make your content more memorable. You want to make it thought-provoking. So definitely looking at different arc styles of video or looking at different formats of video, or be it any other creative formats that you can sort of use here to create this big bang, content, piece of content. Who you really want to reach is here. You want to keep a more broader target audience. You want to reach as many people as possible. So the targeting is much broader, and you want to reach a mass audience here. Formats that you can do, how you can do this is, again, there are high value formats, there are high budget value productions that you can look at, but not just that, there are much more creative and innovative ways of also creating this content. It's not like only if I have a big budget will I be able to create a big hero content. In fact, with digital, we've seen that the traditional arcs are no more the sort of way to go, right? There are different uh, arcs that we can follow here. So you could look at even influencers, you could look at a short series of videos, anything which basically has longevity and can is sort of designed for shareability. Where can you put this out? This is through paid for channels, because you want to really reach out a maximum audience here. You really want to reach out to as many people as you want, and so you need to have a set promotional strategy as well to really push out this big video or big content piece of content that you're creating. Frequency is usually low in the sense that the frequency of creating such kind of content is usually low, because since you would be having larger budgets here, and since you would be spending a lot more of your resources to create this, the frequency of creating this is low. But when you do create it, the push has to be really strong and really sort of go big on that. One of the good examples of digital real estate that you could leverage to really reach a big subscriber base, right? That is the YouTube masthead. Now, YouTube has an immense, a large database, a large base, a subscriber base, and that's like a really good pool of audience that you can reach out to with this particular asset. So creating a film maybe for this particular asset could be one of the options. I'm not saying this is the only one. I'm just giving an example of how you could do, or one of the examples, in fact, that we had done for one of our brands, which is Sundaram Mutual. Now, the idea here was they had launched their NFO, and the brief was very simple, that we want to create something to really get people to know about the NFO. We need anyone and everyone to know that this particular NFO is being launched. And so what is the creative strategy we should be using? Which is when we said, I think that at that point, the YouTube masthead was a pretty new real estate available. And we saw the sort of potential with that asset that we could create, right? So we created a film for it and we put it out there. Actually, the real estate, getting a YouTube masthead, I think the last time I checked was around 2 crores or 2.8 crores per day. That's the price tag. But yes, if you do have those kind of big budgets, this could be like a really good asset to create. In fact, with Sundaram, we were able to get 29 million video views in just 24 hours. And in fact, they were able to increase their YouTube subscribers right from 57,000 to I think around 1.4 lakhs in just that 24 hours. Right. So this could be a good way to do it, but there are definitely more ways of doing this hero content, which I can run you through. Let me just play this video for you to get an understanding of the campaign that we had created. Along with this video, we had also created 2 other versions of the same film to be put out on WhatsApp as well as on social media, which was a more simpler version, a different storyline as well, again, to target a different target audience as well. So let me just play this. I hope you guys can hear the sound, Prasad.
We are not able to. Just a second.
Yeah, I think I need to. 1 second. Now?
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a nurturing hand for brighter possibilities. Invest today in Sundaram Equity Fund for nurtured growth. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Yeah, so that was one example of the kind of hero film that you could create. But, say it's not always possible to have these kind of high big budget films. So just some examples of different ways of which you can create hero content here. So the first example you see is of Tata Mutual Fund, where we created so the brief was to highlight the importance of investing in an ELS tax savings scheme. Now, again, here, considering that the topic is quite, related to tax and quite boring, we wanted to sort of create some fun around it, really make it more engaging. At the same time, really bring a more targeted approach to look at different different target audience that we might have for this, for Tata Mutual Fund. So what we did is we broke the film. We in fact created four, a series of videos. In fact, where we did shorter videos, but more targeted to specific target audience. So what you see is, even the protagonists were used from different demographics, such as there was one which was a working woman, one was a management training, one was a sportsman. So we used different scenarios from, everyday lives and really try to bring in a connect with the audience there. While again, the budget here was relatively smaller, and therefore we said, this way we could create four videos, which could then be, help us in creating performance and driving results through specific targeted, targeting here. So with this campaign, we were able to create about 94 million impressions and actually even get about 8,000 plus leads just for this particular scheme. So in fact, it did turn out to be very successful. I can play this video and then maybe share the other inputs as well. Just a quick, sorry, 1 second.
भैया 1 किलो देना, पर वजन तो कम दिखा रहा है, मैं और डालती हूँ।
आप क्या लेंगे मैडम?
Are taxes making you weigh your income down? Presenting Tata India Tax Savings Fund, an equity-linked savings scheme which helps you to save tax and grow your money as well.
Investors understand that their principal will be at moderately high risk. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Here again, during lockdown, productions were not possible. So we said, how do we create some sort of big bang sort of a video here? What we did is we used like very simple images and stock footages to really create the video here. We used post-production techniques here to create this video. But essentially the idea here was, we saw that, during lockdown, everyone was sort of really wanting to go back to office, right? There was a point when everyone used to be like, our office, why do I have to come to office? I wish we had like a break. But in the beginning of lockdown, everyone was really missing office. So we said, why not use that insight? Why can't we like take that insight and create something engaging for the Tata Click audience? And what we created is You Made It Click, to sort of say that it was the people in the office that actually made everything click. And this is why the office is now missing you. So we had like the office, things, sort of objects, personifying them and talking to us. So it was again an engaging, creating some engagement around this. We got around 3.5 lakh video views, and we're in fact able to do about 2.7 lakh plus engagements here. Along with this, we created a lot of hub and hygiene content, which was, we supported this campaign with an AR filter. We also did a social media series on this. So we had some content supporting this, but in fact, Tata Click saw a lot of positive engagement, which was something very rare before. We saw a lot of positive engagement with this video, with this particular campaign. And what you see, another one here is the WIF Come True, is again an fully influencer-driven campaign, which was done to launch their fragrances category. So we got like, again, this was due to the lockdown, and therefore doing any sort of photo shoot or anything was like a big challenge. So to work around that, what we did is we virtually directed all of these influencers to really create these photo shoots and assets for us, which we then pushed out through our digital channels. We also created a small video. So in fact, here the hero was the influencers itself driving this campaign. And then we had like a lot of supporting hub and hygiene around, different fragrances notes, and we had like sort of expert influencers also sharing information on what each notes mean, what are the different fragrance categories. A lot of these informational help content was also put out there. Yeah, so I can probably just share this one video.
बैठे बैठे बोर हुए, करना है कुछ काम. अरे इधर यार, it's been 2 months. Remember how you'd always fight for me? कितना special लगता था मुझे. आजा यार, I miss the warmth. Don't you too?
Of course you do, because I was always too cool for you, no? But do you know how sexy you looked in that jacket I made you wear? Come back already. I can't wait for you to take my breath away.
हवा में बात करना मुझे नहीं आता. मेरे लिए तो लाइफ इज एन एडवेंचर. सुबह प्रतीक की जेब में, रात को नेहा के हैंडबैग में. नेक्स्ट लेवल सीन ब्रो. बट नाउ यहीं पे बैठ के सड़ रहा हूँ. Come on, bro.
I know I do that often, but that's because I want your attention. You know what? I've even been practicing Dalgona for you. बस एक बार आके बटन दबा दो.
छी यार, this is the limit. I can't hold it in anymore. Appraisal का क्या हुआ?
What about your new manager?
What about that breakup?
We need answers, yeah. Not to piss you off, but if you're not back soon, I might have some secrets to leak.
फिर सब ऊपर वाले के हाथ में है.
अरे सब कुछ हमेशा मेरे हाथ में थोड़ी होता है. Oh, by the way, even I miss looking at you all the time. I mean, not in a creepy way. It's just that I always picture us together. इन सबको मैं देख लूंगा. But for you guys, it must be difficult, ना? इस बार वो स्टेपलर भी चुरा लेना. मैं आंखें बंद कर लूंगा.
Yes, so those are some examples of different ways in which you can create your hero content. Moving on to
भैया 1 किलो देना.
Yeah. So just wanted to also share like a small approach which really works well in terms of digital, which we call YouTube recommends is called the Bite Snack Meal. Now with digital, like I mentioned earlier, it's given us the opportunity to really push back on that typical arcs that we used to follow, right, in filmmaking, or the, you need to have 30 storyboards and things like that. So we've sort of been able to push back on that. So a sort of approach that you can use to orchestrate content, across moments that matter, and also to drive reach for your audience. So I can play, this is like a small example, which we call, the approach is called Bite Snack and Meal. Orange is the New Black, which is one of the series when Netflix launched. They actually used this very cleverly to push their trailers here when the launch happened. So what it does is, if you see, Bite is, it's sort of, let me play the videos first, I think, and then give you like a quick summary of what this is.
Welcome to Litchfield.
Friend of yours? See, that's funny.
This is not how I imagined prison.
Home sweet home.
Yeah, and this is finally the long form actual trailer itself. So if you actually see, Bite is basically the short form video. What it does, it's just a 10-second video teaser. It starts off really fast. It rushes the adrenaline in. You sort of conveys the message up front there, right? It's very quick. It's like a bite snack. Whereas the snack is where it takes some, sort of impactful moments from the series itself. It really gets you more interested. The tempo is still upbeat. It gets you to engage more with the characters itself of the series. And then it sort of also tells you that, hey, by the way, this is the new series, new thing that's being launched on on Netflix. Finally, The Meal is the actual trailer, which is a long form content. Like with films, with offline, it's usually difficult to do videos which are longer than 30 plus seconds, right? Because of the budgets and things like that. But with digital, you can sort of create more longer form videos here. And we've seen that on YouTube, longer form videos work really well as well. So here, The Meal is basically the long form video, which really presents it jumps into the action, it still keeps the pace, it allows the viewers to really explore more beyond what is the key messaging, but also, and finally gives you the season upcoming, the dates and relevant information of that. So this could be one way of where you sort of break your big film, right? Say you're coming up with a sort of long film, you can actually use shorter versions of it to really promote your campaign and also to really push through different target audiences here. Right, so this is the actual. So here I actually wanted a little bit of engagement from the audience. I'm not sure if people would be able to, Prasad, can we have people maybe type in the chat?
Yeah, actually they can. You can ask anything and I will just look at the chat box as well.
Okay, that'd be great. Yes. So I want, like, this was one of the recent, very recent campaigns by IKEA, which is called Fortune Favors Frugal. And this, what they did was they wanted to really change the notion of frugal, right? IKEA wanted to reposition what this frugal really means, which is commonly taken as a negative connotation. And they wanted to highlight the benefits of being thrifty and sustainable. Right, so they actually did this very brilliantly with this film. Maybe I would love to hear everyone's thoughts. Do you guys think that this sort of, why do you think this really works as a hero content, or even if this really works as a hero content? Maybe I can play this video, and if we can have you all quickly type on the chat, would be great.
Some climate experts say time is running out to prevent disaster unless we seriously change our habits.
People have said that a change is soon gonna come. Some people have made some change, but I've not yet to make one. Yes, I am being out so long. I got to read myself.
Fortune favors the frugal. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
So in fact, this is part of their whole wonderful everyday positioning, and they came up with this video. Can we love to hear everyone's thoughts? Why do you guys think that this really works as a hero film? Whole wonderful everyday positioning, and they came up with this video. Can we love to hear everyone's thoughts? Why do you guys think that
Anybody?
this
I'm sorry, I'm actually
really
not
works
able to
as a
see the
hero film? Wow. Anybody? Anything here? Do you guys think? What do you think is really? Why do you think this really works as a hero film or a hero piece of content? Wonderful everyday positioning, and they came up with this video. Connected to. Love to hear everyone's thoughts. Why do you guys think that? Really, very beautifully, right? Not made while this whole futuristic thing is there, but they've sort of not. They've still kept it very real, right? Using the real scenarios and using the daily experiences. Yes. Anybody? Anything here? Anybody else? What do you think is really? Why do you think this really works as a hero film? or a hero piece of content. Wonderful everyday positioning, and they came up with this video. Connected to love to hear everyone's thoughts. Why do you guys think that really? I think very beautifully, right? They've not made while this whole futuristic, they're able to capture very important message there, but they sort of even. They did this video. I think there was this whole news about this comet coming. I think there was some news about it. Anybody, anything cleverly used. What do you think is topical content and created this? Why do you think this really works? It's a very recent film actually, but yes, capturing the wonderful everyday messages of the living environment for this video. Connected to love to hear everyone's thoughts. Why do you guys think that really? Very beautifully, right? A lot of not made while this whole futuristic, they to capture very important message there, but they sort of not. They Yeah, so I think it was a lot of things, right? They leveraged something which was trending, also creative storytelling, really going into the details of, if you see the editing and see the actual visuals, also really going into the detailing of it. Like a lot of them mentioned using real life experiences to really get people to engage with it. So creative storytelling, something that you would really want to share with people. So a lot of those ticks, a lot of those elements get ticked here, which have sort of helped create this, make this as a hero film. I think I missed a slide. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to also like sum up some of the things that we must keep in mind or consider while doing this hero content is one is to focus on the hook, focus on creative and compelling storytelling like how IKEA did it, really identify those important events. Also a good idea to sort of create some buzz before the actual big piece of content goes live. You could also consider collaborating with these influencers and creators. I think the key question you need to really ask here is this a campaign or a piece of content that's going to be share worthy? Is it going to be memorable? Will it really strike a chord with my audiences? Also through this, you should try to really turn your audiences to advocates, really ask people for participation in your campaign. And also to invest some time in keeping a good promotional strategy, because here you want to, like I mentioned multiple times, it's to reach a mass audience. So to have a good promotional strategy as well in mind. Sorry, I think I missed that slide. So I'm just going to quickly run to now we finally look at creating the hub content. Moving on to the next piece in the category. So what is this? This is now you have gotten your audience attention. So now you really want to establish the fact that you are an expert in this field. This is what you really stand for. This is what your brand really stands for. So that's where you start pushing out content, where you start giving them more value-added content, more thought leadership content, something which is more community focused. So you really push out content from your end. So you're trying to really nurture your existing customers and at the same time draw in new audiences and really get them to consider your product or service. How can you do this? Again, there are different ways and formats. While videos are one thing, there's also blogs, long form blogs, any kind of long form specialist content that you can put out. You can also really look at a series of campaigns that you do, smaller, shorter content pegs that you look as part of a social media as well. Here, the key is to really ask them to take some sort of action. Either you ask them to subscribe or like or engage or to follow your page. So there needs to be a certain, some action that you really want to drive through the content that you put out in this particular stage. Where do you host this? This can be on your brand website, on your landing page, on your social media, either through targeted emailers, having an email strategy as well in place here. Frequency, like we saw, it's consistent, but it's done medium. Like you see like spikes when your hero content is out. So here, just an example, a screenshot from our YouTube page, you'll in fact find a lot of thought leadership content related to digital marketing, creative advertising, a lot of thought leadership content here, webinars, which are there on our social media, as in our YouTube page. So we have a robust YouTube strategy in terms of putting out ourselves as thought leaders and really adding value through the expertise that we have. We have regularly scheduled videos here, and the objective is really to drive people to give a reason, right, to people to subscribe to our channel, to subscribe to us and really know about us. So some key points here to consider. Like I said, the objective needs to be to take some action to really nurture a relationship and demonstrate the value that you can give in that field. Is to keep communicating regularly and consistently. Also, you need to keep in mind that don't be preachy, because here we don't want to come across as salesy. We don't want to really sell the product. We really want to actually, the aim is to provide the value, really build a community of people who can keep coming back to us and keep engaging with us. Now, it's really important that you have a distinct editorial voice, a distinct way of tone that you speak in, the kind of content that you really put out in this. Also to have a identifiable personality, right? Like if your brand is someone who's serious, who's a more formal brand, then sort of has to play into the content that you create, the tone that you speak in, even in fact the visual language that you put out there. In terms of YouTube channel art, it's also important that you have a consistent channel art, consistent visual language to that. And then finally, having an active promotion strategy so that you keep pushing out this content and pushing it to the relevant audiences who are considering your product or service. Why I wanted to just stress on this as to why consistency is a key here, especially at this hub stage, because you really want to compel your audience to keep coming back again and again. You want to increase your fan loyalty at this stage. You want your audience to feel comfortable and really trust that you are the one who will be able to give you relevant information and really give you value. So consistently putting that information out is the key to really help your audiences develop a sense of expectation and really know, for instance, if it is Zomato, I know that I have to expect, like food related stuff, right? Like if it is Social Beat, I know I need to expect something that's related to digital marketing and performance digital marketing, for example. So really knowing, putting that consistently builds that understanding even in your consumer's mind. Some best practices, how you can remain consistent, is because sometimes it becomes difficult to really create consistent content regularly, right? Like when you're brainstorming and you're like really doing the same thing again and again in different ways becomes challenging. So some best practices could be where you develop ideas which could be expressed over a series of videos, for instance. So either you have package a series of webinars which are specific to a particular topic, for instance. That could be one way of doing it. You also create a structured format. So you really, even when you're doing a video or a campaign or anything, for instance, you have a structured format. For instance, you start with an introduction, you then move on to, for instance, let's take this webinar, right? There's a structured format where there's an introduction, then there is the actual presentation, and then you go on to have the question answer. Similarly, having a structured format to your video or to your influencer campaign or to any social media content that you put out there. Make sure that your messaging is very clear. You get to your point very soon, so that you don't miss out. You don't have audiences dropping out. And then finally, having a sustainable approach, because cost can be a big challenge, right, in terms of production, especially when it comes to videos and having creative resources. So I mean, planning a shoot or planning production in such a way that you're able to really create content, say for create a series of videos, say in one day of production shoot, could be more budget wise, could be more friendly, right? So really taking all of those into consideration when you're putting your content plan together. A quick example, I think OnePlus, does amazing content, but this was specific to the launch of their OnePlus 3. The hero film here was pretty simple. It was the ordinary launch of like how these smartphone, the launch films are. It was pretty an expected sort of video. But what they did interesting with the hub post the launch of the hero film, once they revealed the actual product, they had like a microsite where they showed where these pop-up events were happening, and they recorded these pop-up events and put it out as content on their digital channels. And they were in fact recording the pop-up event, at the same time showing some comparisons through that video. So it was an interesting way of doing that video. Along with that, they had even some comparison videos where they did a lot of these phone, you'll see a lot of these phone brands doing these comparison videos using influencers. So that was something that they already did. I think in the interest of time, I'm just going to skip this because it's a very straightforward video, but they just recorded the event. But I thought personally it was a very interesting hub content, right? Like you're really looking at how people are actually going to the event and purchasing the product. It sort of creates a sense of, oh, okay, people are buying this, so maybe this is a good product, so you'd want to consider it. So that's how this video, even if you really hear it, that's how the narration also is in the particular video. Just going to quickly skip this, guys. Yeah, this is again the pop-up video as well. Another great example is again IKEA. IKEA their YouTube channel is filled with like amazing hub content. They do a series of, it's called the home tour series. What they do is they do mini makeovers. They go around the country and they really take up certain people's homes and they do mini makeovers. They record that and then put it out as content of how they have gone up. They show the entire process of how they've done it. They in fact have a really amazing pool of almost 400 episodes of this home tour series. It really gives you an understanding that yes, IKEA is an expert. They really know how to, they can sort of really make over your home, and it's very easy to install. It's very simple furniture. So all of that is something that they bring out in each of these videos through different themes. I think one of them, they have like small space ideas, they have living rooms. So they take up specific rooms and bedrooms also, and then really put out thought leadership content around that. Yeah, you guys can go and check out their, it's pretty nicely done videos. Now moving on to the hygiene content. This is, it's pretty straightforward, right? It is the hygiene help content which you do, the how-to information about your services. Any kind of content that is straightforward, your how-to guides or how the product demos, for instance, all these kind of videos or content which really sort of provide you actionable advice could sort of come under this bracket. Here, your goal is to really make videos that really meet a user's need, right? So here, in fact, SEO becomes very crucial because you really need to go and look at what your audience are searching for, picking up those high volume, search terms, and then creating content around that. That becomes very important because here at this point, you want to know what your audience is really looking for, what is it that they're struggling with, and then give them that specific information. So here you're targeting, you're going to a very targeted consumer who has a potential to be your new customer. You could do this either by step-by-step guides, fact sheets, infographics. You also have ebooks, webinars, podcasts, product demo videos. You could use even the Insta guides, for instance. You could in fact even use stories to really put out this kind of content. There are different formats that you can use for this. Where you could put it is on your social media channels through sponsored content on your company website or through syndicated websites. The frequency here is high and it's consistently done again. Like I said, this is an always on strategy. You need to keep continuously putting out this because you want to continuously keep engaging with your audience. This is an example from Gillette. Gillette has a lot of these how-to videos. What I liked about this is, how to shave. It's never going to be outdated, right? Like men will always want to know, new shavers will always want to know how to will always be seeking for this information. So they in fact have a series of how to shave videos where they've, gone into the specifics of what people are really looking for. Men, different kinds of beards, different kinds of skin tones and things like that. So they've gone really specific videos on that. And if you watch the video, I'll probably play a few seconds of this. They really, it's a very engaging way of doing the video as well. Let me just quickly play this. I'll just play a few seconds from this.
Whether you're shaving for the first time or you're a pro, we have some tips on how to get a smoother, more comfortable shave. First, hydrate to minimize nicks, cuts, and irritation. Hydrating softens your hair, allowing the razor to glide more easily. Use a facial scrub or wash to remove oil, dirt, and dead skin, preparing your skin for a comfortable shave.
Okay, so you actually watch these videos, you'll see they've sort of demonstrated how to do it, really giving visual cues to the audience to how to do it, as well as they followed a lot of these YouTube practices, best practices of having subtitles, linking related videos. And they've had like, even the way they start off, right, is very clear that we have these specific tips for you. So sort of, again, reiterating the fact that they are the experts and they have like the right tips for you to be able to shave well. So right. So again, just summing up, things that we should keep in mind when doing hygiene content is identify those frequent searches and keywords, and then focus on what are those high volume search phrases and really creating content specific to those keywords. Keep it factual, keep it simple, practical here, because people want to know really how to do it. So very simple language, very practical language will help. For instance, say the audience are searching for, I mean, if you're from a tourism industry and the audience are searching for cheap London attractions, then your video should be specifically answering that query and really not become very generic, because then you'll lose out on people watching the video. Again, don't make it very salesy here. You want to really come across as, it's not a sales pitch here. You want to keep that very minimum. You want to create evergreen content and instructional videos, for instance, that can be searched over time. People keep coming back for more information to your website or your channels. Also, to maintain best practices in terms of discoverability, and to optimize your metadata, optimize your titles, tags, all of that, having consistent channel art, for instance, to really develop the formula that works the best for your content strategy. This is a quick example for hygiene content, which Sephora does. Sephora has a lot of these how-to videos, very interesting formats in the way they create this content. Again, they start off, the way the video starts out is that, we've been, if you see I'll probably play the video, but what he starts off with is very clearly calling out that we have really heard you guys, we have really heard that you are looking for this particular information, and therefore we've created this video for you. And then they really go about to give you those how-to tips. Let me just play couple of seconds here.
Hey there, Jeffrey here, Sephora Beauty Director, and I have read your comments. I see that you guys still have more questions about acne and acne concerns. So what I wanted to do was put together a really quick video where we talk about...
You can actually go check out their, I think they have a lot of these videos, but if you really watch these videos, you'll see how they have plugged some Sephora products into this, very subtly putting out there, but not being very salesy, really giving informational content. Again, plugging in similar related content videos here. A lot, having these links added to make sure that people subscribe to your channel for more information. Also, calling out to subscribe during the video itself. So yeah, you guys can watch this to get a more perspective on this. Yeah, so that's just about it. A quick summary here to really tell you what each of this does. The hero is where the big ticket events and hero moments to really grow your audience and increase your awareness across a short period of time. Here you could look at high impact films, thumb stoppers, larger influencer budget campaigns, or even a large social media campaign, anything, right? Like your it could even be like a series of videos, for instance. Then at the hub stage, you want to create value-added content, industry-focused, trend-led, and really push out content regularly. Here, your intent is to nurture relationship and demonstrate value and sort of get them to really take some action. This could be either, again, through multi-part series, webinars, live events, case studies that you put out, podcasts, episodic content. Your testimonials could also could work well here. Coming to hygiene, this is the always on pull content where you really go out there and look at what people are searching for and giving clear answers to those search queries. Here, the intent is to increase your coverage and gain featured snippets. How you go about doing it is search-related content, your blogs for specific topics, how-to videos, your product demos. You could also have review videos. Create, for instance, if you're a food brand, recipe videos. Creating infographic, long-form content infographic content as well here. So yeah, before I close out, I just wanted to share a couple of more tips, quick tips in terms of when you're brainstorming and when you're doing, coming up with a content strategy before you actually even get into the framework itself. It's important to identify a human insight and really sort of drawing the impact that you want to create with any kind of content you're creating. Because if you want to create a hero content or anything, you really need to understand what is the consumer, what is it that really clicks with the consumer, what is the problem that the consumer is facing. That's where it becomes more shareable, more engaging, more relatable, right? Now, I'm sure a lot of you would have seen the recent Swiggy video, which they did. It's called the What the Faluda. This was a very interesting, like the insight here was very interesting, right? Like we all probably do this, or we probably face this. A lot of we've seen people, users using cuss words while having conversations with the support team, right? When someone's calling, when you want to make a complaint, and you usually end up doing that. There have been a lot of instances, and we know that this is a problem that sort of is existent. They took this very nuanced insight and came up with a very interesting video where the impact they wanted to really create is in the whole Swiggy style, right? They didn't really go out in this very fun, cheeky way of doing it, but the idea was to really get people to realize what they're doing and reduce the cuss words, reduce the use of those cuss words during these calls. For those who have not seen this, I can just probably quickly play this. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this on mute?
Hey! दिखता नहीं है क्या बे? अबे! हाँ? चल! बाप का कॉलेज है? बेनी मसाला! बाप का नाम लिया तू? मार बुलाओ! चल! आज ना पीने देंगे गाली, मेन्यू से चूज करो, इटालियन हो या थाली. आज ना पीने देंगे गाली, मेन्यू से चूज
ओ भाई साहब, इधर मैं इधर ही था.
We're really running on time, so in the interest of time, I'm sure you guys have seen this. If you all haven't, please go. You could search for What the Faluda and look at the video. It was a very interesting way of doing this campaign, and I thought was a very nuanced insight. So really identifying that insight and then coming up with your content plan. Then understanding, really understanding what your brand is as a person and identifying that pulse. If your brand was a person, how would he act, talk, or engage like? Really understand, putting those points down to really help in creating any kind of content. And to sort of identify that pulses as a person, once you've defined what this brand is as a person, then to really see how would this person really react to the insight that you have. So finding that pulse becomes very important. And then defining your brand's personality and voice, identify which archetype your brand falls into, and then really having a very clear tone of voice, a clear visual personality in every kind of content that you put out there. Yes, defining your brand love, this becomes very important because if you notice, there are two areas that why we share content, right? One is either it needs to be really relatable or it needs to be very original. So really finding the center point, right? It's to be careful that you don't get too cliche or you don't get, too bizarre, right? You need to be careful of not doing that, but at the same time, being able to find what really ticks with your audience, what they find is shareable and original. These are just some quick tips on how you can build effective creatives. Using tight framing, aim for 2 or 3 shots in your first 5 seconds. Introducing your brand in the first 5 seconds also becomes important. Don't sort of shy away from your functional storytelling when you're trying to connect. While you lean on the emotional levers, but also really don't shy away from the functional storytelling as well. Using specific CTAs when you're trying to direct them to really take a particular action, then having specific CTAs at the end, also having your text cards and having a search bar sort of that iterates the website that they need to go and really find this website, for instance. All of this needs to be considered when you're to be able to create effective creators for the content that you put out. Some quick case studies of how certain brands have done this. I'm sure all of us would have seen the Volvo truck video, which came back in 2019. This legendary actor Jean-Claude Van Damme, he was an expert at performing martial arts. So what they did is they used him to they sort of signed him on to do this famous split, and this video really went viral. Really, it sort of really got people talking about the brand. While actually this was part of a series of 6 live tests, but this one particular video really got eyeballs. Along with this, Volvo does multiple series of hub content where they keep doing different aspects of truck enthusiasts, where they have something called the Welcome to My Cab, which highlights their customized trucks. They have Brian's Truck Report, which spotlights different Volvo models. So these are really highly effective because if you go and look at it, each of these have at least 50,000 views per episode. And for their hygiene, they've been taking advantage of a lot of animated explainer videos to create educational content. And they've also, in fact, used their database really well. They've collaborated with their customer base of trucks to really highlight the tips when it comes from the actual consumers itself of the tips on safety and productivity. They have a series of safety tip videos there as well. Just another example of how we've sort of done this for an internal brand at Social Beat. This is a brand, Wonder Chef.
Do you think India?
Sorry. So Wonder Chef is a kitchen appliances brand. So during our research, we realized that in the modern society, even today in Indian households, the responsibility of kitchen is still falls on the women, right? But another insight we had was that a lot of chefs around the world are usually men. So we said, why is there a gender disparity when it comes to only our home kitchens, right? Why can't we? It's a basic skill. Why can't it? We ask, can we get the men to also engage more in the home kitchens? So what we did was a Vox Pop video. Again, not a very high budget here. It's a very fun way of engaging, an interesting format that you guys can use to create low budget films as well. Where we went around asking the men of, we sort of structured a script here. It was partly scripted to really, not scripted, but really to show the structure of the film. And then finally, we went on to say that why is there a gender disparity? Along with that, we had a lot of hub content where we put out product-related information. We also had influencers, using the product in their kitchen and really cooking with their family members. And for hygiene, we had a series of recipe videos which men could really cook by themselves. In fact, even in the hub, we sort of pushed a lot of their products that they had for single men. They had smaller smaller vessels and smaller appliances that could be for single men. So we really pushed for specific targeted men audience there. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I had from my end. I hope this was useful, guys. Happy to take on any questions now, Prasad.
Hi, thank you, Panisha. I'm sure this was, eye-opener for a lot of people today who have watched it, because not many have heard about the Triple H brand strategy, content strategy, and I'm sure that we would have been, wanting for more videos as well, because
yeah, so that's pretty much what I had from my end. I hope this was useful, guys. Happy to take on any. Thank you, Prasad. Yeah. I hope this was useful for everyone and is something that you'll use to create content.
I'm sure this was, eye-opener for a lot of people today who have watched it, because I'm really glad that you joined today. I hope I'm audible to you now.
Yeah, I can hear you, Prasad.
Okay, great. So we have left the feedback form for people who have watched it. You can fill the feedback form with the questions and everything.
Sure, this was
and
eye opener for a lot of people.
Parisha, again, I would like to thank you for having the time today and joining us today. We'll meet again for yet another interesting session like this. And our viewers and the team from DigiGuide will be glad to have you back. Thank you so much, Manisha.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.